Hello and welcome to Won't Be Forgetting That, a podcast talking about all the most awkward and embarrassing moments of people working in the arts and entertainment industry. I'm your podcast host, Seb Muirhead, and today we have a guest. They are a director, a producer, a writer, Riley Sugars.
Hello, thanks for having me.
No, thank you very much for coming on, mate. So just before we started recording, we were talking about you've just wrapped on a feature film.
Yeah.
At time of recording, I should say as well. So thank you for actually finding time returning to the regular human race.
Oh, God, it feels so good to be just back doing normal things. And I've been...
You doing all right? Have you had enough sleep now? Have you had...
Not really. I think last night was the first night I slept more than 5 to 6 hours.
Yeah, nice.
And I just woke up, was like, oh, I feel so much better.
You properly hydrated now as well? You
yeah.
sat down enough too?
Yeah, it was, it was just it's funny because this is now the 5th time I've worked in any capacity on a feature film.
Yeah, sorry, that's the podcast dog trying to break into the room again.
I was like, oh my God, someone's in the house. We're gonna die.
No, she's very small, but cool.
Yeah, no, so this is the kind of the 5th time I've had anything to do with a feature. Doing long form is such a endurance race, so physically and mentally exhausting, and
it's just a slog, right? And I don't mean that
absolutely.
in a detrimental way as well. Like, it's very rewarding, but fuck, it's tiring.
So tiring. I mean, because like we all sort of start out in short form, and they are quick sprints. You're going for maybe a week, and then you get a break. You go for a week, you hop on something else, then you get a break. When you're doing something long form, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks of just going
every day.
Yeah. And we just did we started June the 1st on this film. I should preface saying this film is called Lenore.
Yeah,
it's a feature film and sort of a psychological thriller. Ooh. We shot it in Brunswick in a studio for 90% of the production.
Nice.
And I started the production as the assistant director, and by day 8 I got a promotion and was stepped up to being a producer on the film.
Oh, nice. And then you finally got rid of the director and directed it yourself.
No. The director was absolutely sensational. His name's David Ward. He is a theatre director.
Oh, fantastic.
This is his first feature, and he literally did an absolutely outstanding job. He came, it was the most funniest thing. A friend who was the other producer, she had to step away at the beginning of the production, but she came back and it was, her and I have really worked in that last second part of the production as a great team. So it will be David, the director. He's also a producer. Her name's Madeline Claire French, and myself will be the producers of this film.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And we made a great team, but it was funny because she was the one who got me involved in the project, and she said, can you AD this indie micro budget feature for me? And I was like, okay, yes, but I want to meet the director first.
That's a very smart thing.
Well, because it's just assistant director,
yeah.
You stick like glue to each other, to the director and the assistant director. And if you don't get along, then...
I could only imagine that'd be an absolute nightmare.
I've seen it happen before.
Really?
Yeah, where the AD and the director are at odds with each other, and and it makes one a really uncomfortable set, but a really dysfunctional workplace too.
I would hate to work on that.
Yeah, and so I met David, and we went to a bar on Chapel Street, and
dangerous times.
But literally for a business meeting. So it was like 6 o'clock at night.
It wasn't 8 p.m. on a Saturday night.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a sloppy chap laps kind of experience. But that being said, it felt very much like David was trying to impress me, and I was sort of trying to impress David at the same time. And we met, and he came, literally, he said, all right, lovely to meet you. We sort of sat down, we did our pleasantries, and then he literally pulled out a printed script with notes, a schedule of this or that. And within that, I was like, all right, well, I'm already going to do the film straight away, because someone's that organized, ready to go. I was like, great.
He's like a unicorn.
Yeah, I know.
I've never seen that from a director.
Oh, it was amazing. And it's just, this is a project for him, at least, that he has been trying to get up for, I'd say, close to 7 to 8 years.
Oh, holy shit.
And
yeah, wow.
He started attempting to do it mid-late last year, shot a bit of it, and then kind of financing fell down.
Yeah.
So he'd shot a lot of stuff that you'd be see on screens and television. So production technically did start last year, but really we basically, from June 1st to June 24th, in that period, so that's a 24-day period, we shot for 21 days.
Yeah, that's
We did
exhausting.
3 days on, a day off, and then we did 6-day weeks for 3 weeks straight.
Yeah,
So
my God.
I think everyone on the last Saturday was like, let's get drunk. Like, it was, oh my God.
I think I'd have 2 drinks and then just like fall asleep wherever I was in the world at that moment in time. I'd just be like, I'm just going to bed wherever this is now.
I mean, that's true. I mean, it was a really beautiful moment, actually, because when we wrapped, I think everyone was just so like, we just did that. Wow. And then everyone was like, I got handed an alcoholic beverage straight away, which I don't think it lasted more than 10 seconds.
No. It's so funny. It's like this shared experience. And it's such a rewarding experience, obviously, as well. But like towards the end, you're just like, I just need to get this done. I just need to see the end of this.
Absolutely. You know, it was very funny. I had a moment during the shoot. You're doing 6-day weeks. I had Sundays off, and I said to the team, I was like, I'm not going to be available for text for half Sunday.
Yeah.
Half Sunday, I just had a mini sleep in and I went and saw my family and just
that's
hugged them
nice.
very hard. I was like, I'm so tired.
Are you doing okay? What's going on?
Yeah.
I'm just working in a film.
They're just like, are you, how you going? I was like, I'm good. And then it's just like one eye blinks,
Fine.
one eye blinks and one eye just stays very open.
I just start crying.
Crying. And I'm like, I'm fine. Blink. No. But, you know, like, it's funny because, you know, I think long form is where I want to end up in my career.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's the beast that is just like,
God.
the unattainable beast. But when you do it, it's so satisfying.
Yeah.
And it, like I said, it's not the first time I've ever done a feature.
Yep.
I've worked on a few bigger features in shot in Melbourne, and I've been a day player on a feature or two in the past year or so. But then last year I worked on a film that was it's now going to opening night at MIFF this year. And
shit!
It played at Sundance.
Shit! God damn!
Yeah.
They're big festivals.
Yeah, I was the on-set location manager. You know, I was just a whatever.
So everyone was coming up like, this door won't open now.
Exactly.
Can you fix this?
Where is the lock for this thing? I'm like,
Whoa.
okay.
Somebody's broken this entire side of the house. Can you fix it? No.
No, I'm like, okay. And you know, this film was great. Like, that was a great experience. I mean, I've got.
Can you say what it is?
It's called Shader. It's
Shader. Awesome.
I mean, if anyone has a thing called Google, they'll be able to figure it out pretty quick. Yeah, but it was one of the experiences where the language, the main language of the film, it's part English and it's part Iranian.
Oh, wow.
The director, writer, and producer is Iranian. The story's based on her childhood and her relationship with her mother. They had an amazing actress, Zah Ibrahim. Her full name is escaping me right now. But she literally like walked off. We shot this in maybe July, August 2022.
Oh, yeah.
She, in May, had just won Best Actress at Cannes.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so like the production was like, oh, whoa, like...
Oh my God, can we capitalize on
Yeah,
this?
well, yeah. And
Yeah.
it was one of those funny things where the film had such a independent vibe to it.
Yep.
But that being said, it was still, you know, the executive producer was Kate Blanchett and her husband, Andrew Upton. So,
Fuck.
you know, so...
Not bad at all.
Yeah, I know. So it's like, it's independent,
Yeah.
but it's also not at the same time.
Far out. Fuck, that's so cool.
It was super exciting. Andrew Upton, who's one of the executive producers, he came to set. He was lovely. I met him. And yeah, I mean, I believe Kate Blanchett was at the time quite busy either doing stuff with Tar or on the tour for Tar. So, but yeah, that's really cool. Like that.
That's one of those ones where it doesn't sound, or sorry, it wouldn't feel real until it's either happened or you're literally like shaking hands with some of those people and you're like, wow. Fuck,
Yeah, well,
this is
I mean,
pretty cool.
I mean, you know, the point of this podcast is funny and embarrassing stories, and I've got an absolute amazing zinger from this one because
Oh, please, this is a perfect segue in that
it
case.
is.
Yeah.
I mean, we shot in all across Melbourne, literally all across Melbourne,
Yep.
all across kind of within a 50-kilometer radius of the city, all across. My job was the on-set locations manager, and we had multiple locations, but we had one monster troublesome one.
Oh, wonderful.
And the monster troublesome one was...
Can I ask you very quickly as well? Can you just explain to the audience maybe what a location manager is?
Yeah.
So for people that don't quite know, because you're like, what do you mean? You don't have to manage a house?
No, so basically, I mean, on a big shoot, especially when you're doing multiple locations, you're the one who sort of, you do a location scout so with the creative team, the director, the producers, to make sure that the house or the location or the apartment or the whatever it is what they want. And then you've got to work with councils to make sure that's achievable. You've got to work with business owners or homeowners to make sure that they're happy that you're using their space. And you've got to work with, just work with the community too. I think, and this perfectly sort of segues into what happened and what didn't happen. We had a great experience where we were within the Iranian community. People got around us. For this
fantastic!
Production, so they were really accommodating. However, we were shooting in this shopping district business block in Dandenong, in the middle of Dandenong.
Okay, like one of those large outside kind of ones?
No, so it was sort of like, it was just like a building, basically, a big business building, very old. The film's set in the mid-90s, so it was very era appropriate. Not the most nicest building. It's pretty bit run down.
Yes.
But there were a lot of businesses and small businesses and sort of people who are running, one-person businesses that have got a shop or a space.
Yeah.
And we're basically shooting here, and I'd visited this location before. We'd done some sort of a scout, and I was a part of a team of 3, and when you're on a shoot like this, is spread very thin.
Oh my God.
Very thin. I'm very grateful that my boss at the time, my head of department, I should say, he was really great in managing the team, and that's really great. You need a good leader as a head of department.
That can make or break either your experience or the entire film itself as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And and I've watched heads of department, even directors, sort of like have full on breakdowns on set. It's like, it's such it's so uncomfortable. It's such a challenge, but it's also very detrimental to I'm looking to you as the leader, but you're not confident.
Yeah.
So who do I look to?
It's a funny one, isn't it? Because I think the lead actor, director, head of departments, like you were saying, so for anyone that doesn't know, everyone's got a head of department. So which essentially like is your boss. And then they all come together and they're the ones that make the big decisions and stuff. But if they're not working like congruently together, or if your head of department or the lead actor is just having a fucking nightmare of a time, it really affects everyone else as well. But on the opposite side, if they're super upbeat or positive or just really good with people, you're like, you know what, this is a bit of a shit day, but I'm not feeling that bad.
That is exactly right. And I had a great time working with my head of department on this film. We have stayed in touch. We've been really friendly. He's a great guy. But I will say, we had just sort of one of those instances where it just didn't really pan out with this location, and it all went to shit, basically.
So that entire shopping area?
So basically what happened was we went and shot there, and all these businesses, we had a few specific businesses which we'd contacted and been in touch with. We've been in touch with a building manager. We'd basically made like quiet deals with all of them.
Yep.
However, it's a small business park, and they're all friends. We had days and days and days of getting yelled. I basically had like a day or two of brokering and negotiating with all these like very specific business owners.
Yep.
We had a few that were just literally the nicest humans.
Yep.
And then a few that would just kill me now. They were just so troublesome. But it really got to, and we sort of negotiated, brokered, okay, everyone's happy finally. And then there was this one guy who we'd been trying to get in contact. We'd left letters, we'd called, he never got back to us.
Okay.
We'd done everything we could. Every time we visited, we knocked on his door, nothing. So we'd done everything we could. Anyway, so basically this is the last day of filming we're there. He had started to become a problem. We'd been there for we were there for maybe 3 days in total.
Okay.
By the 3rd day, he became a real problem to the point where he literally came in front of the camera. He stood in front of it. He screamed. He screamed at the director. He screamed at the lead actress.
Ooh.
And then he started screaming in another language, which I couldn't understand.
Yep.
And so I at the point was just trying to calm him down.
Yep.
I had to call my boss, my head of department, like, you need to get here because this is becoming a problem. The assistant director's trying to calm him down. The producer finally steps in. Well, I'm going to, I'll give you money. Like, you just go to this office and talk.
Yep.
No. You're not listening to me. We like, I'm going to call the police on you. And the police knew we were there. Like, we,
exactly.
of course, we're good about that. And, but it got to the point where, and this is sort of, I want to say this is a funny yet sad story, but for me at least. It is, but then it has a great ending.
Okay, good. Well, that's good at least.
That's good at least. You're like, oh, geez, this is supposed to be a little bit humorous, this podcast. But like this guy, you know how you just sort of, you can absorb so much and I had 3 days to 4 days straight of just people yelling at me and being really unhappy with me. And then at this end point, this guy is screaming. The whole set is stopped because he's yelling at us. He's in the middle of the shot. He won't move. He's just being a complete disruptive presence. And then he starts screaming another language to the director, to the lead actress. I can't understand it.
Yeah.
And then every member of the crew starts sort of looking at me. And it's not that was done on purpose.
Yeah.
But when you have all the eyeballs looking at you and you just like shrivel up a little bit.
This is your job, Riley. So
go
for it.
And it was just one of those moments where the long story of it is we left that location. Went to the next location. I went and sat in the backyard of this house and I just burst into tears.
Oh, no. Fuck.
Because I was just so mentally like, you can only absorb so much before your body goes shutdown mode.
Yeah.
And I did. And everyone was like, "You right?" And I'm like, I'm okay.
Five.
I'm okay. And it was called my dad. I reckon that was probably the closest I've ever been to just going, you know what, I don't know if I can do this anymore.
Holy shit.
And it was a hard thing because it was, I've always wanted to be in the film industry ever since I was probably maybe like 10, 11.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm like, I actually have like my prep or year one little placemat. I found this when I moved out of home, we're going through all, stuff about what to chuck, and I found this little placemat from when I was maybe 6, 7 years old, and it said, it's like a placemat, photos of me at school, and it was like, what do you want to do with in your life? And it's I want to make movies and shows. So it was really beautiful. But yeah, I think that was the closest I'd ever been to sort of chucking in the towel, if you would.
Yeah.
That being said, I sort of, the production were a bit like, okay, and I was like, no. Love you guys, but you're going to get me some mental health.
Yeah.
It's in my contract, as it is in every other standard contract nowadays. It's part of your health plan. And they did. But this is how life works. That week after I felt, really sort of, I've never really lost it on a set like that.
Yeah.
And I felt, oh God, everyone thinks I'm, but about 3 days later, I got a call from my cinematographer. We're in the forest of this place in Forest Hill or somewhere like that. And it's this forest. We're shooting this night market scene where these characters are walking through this beautiful kind of illuminated forest. And it's night markets. People are dancing. There's all these stalls of beautiful food. And it was to tell me that this film this little short film that I'd made was nominated for an ACTA award and Australian Academy of Cinema and Television Award. And
holy shit.
And I said, it basically to this guy who's my cinematographer, he's one of my best friends. I said, if you're lying to me, I'll never speak to you again.
Fuck. That'd be a brutal joke.
And he's known for spinning me for a yarn for a little while. So I said, all right, here's the deal, man. If you're lying to me, so tell me now.
Yep.
If you're lying to me, I'll never speak to you again. If you keep this going and it's not true, I will never talk to you again.
Yeah, holy shit.
And he was like, no. And check your emails, check my emails. And in front of another crew of 50, I burst into tears again. But it was for a great reason this time. Yeah. And they were all like, what's wrong? Who died?
Oh, no.
Like, it's fine. I can't talk about it. It's great news,
Yeah.
So, life has a funny way of, just sort
the ups and downs that you got to experience just on that set as well, by the sounds of things.
Yeah.
And it's so sad as well. We've had friend of the show, Pernell Marsden, talk about having...
really well.
Yeah, oh, yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Having a little car cry after some really big days on set and some really bad days. And you're like, we're making entertainment. Why is this killing us?
Yeah.
But I've had so many friends have breakdowns on and off set as well, and like your emotions are so heightened as well, and
Absolutely.
it's so fucking stressful.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
basically like I call filmmaking sometimes. It's like, all right. So it's funny. My brother about 2 years ago had his wedding, and I always go, oh yeah, great. I love how we're all stressed for this because it feels
Yeah.
like when I make a film or something that's high production, it's like, all right, I'm doing a wedding, but for 5 days a week for like
Yeah, for months.
for
on
months.
end.
That's what
Yeah.
it feels like.
I
So
know.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, your senses are heightened. Everything's just like, you know,
You're living and dying on the day as well,
Yeah.
because you're like, if we don't get this shot, we don't have another day for this, and we can't get back into this location again, and it's the whole thing that holds the film together. And fuck, just yeah.
so true. And yeah, it's just like, you know, it's the ups and downs. But
Yeah.
I you know, this is the thing. It's like it's the beautiful bastard that, you know, like tries to kill you every once in a while, but. You know,
Oh,
I
it
think
definitely goes for it.
Definitely goes for the jugular every
Yeah.
once in a while. But you've got to you know, like I have this saying is like, well, I have a few sayings. A lot of my friends know me for just someone who's just like endlessly quoting random things and
Your own quotes or someone else's?
oh, a lot
quotes?
of oh god, not my own quotes. God,
okay,
I'm not that
okay.
much of a dickhead. Like
I was gonna say, but no.
winker. No, but no, you know, what I lack for in skill, I make up for in will, and it's I am very strong-willed, and you know, even if it is something that takes me forever, going down this industry and having, you know, whatever your measurement of success is,
Yep.
but just you know. I want to go to the grave knowing that I gave it my best shot.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like, I think at the moment I'm doing okay. Like,
Yeah, no, for sure.
I mean, so yeah.
I mean, not only nominated for an actor award, won it as well.
No, I didn't win it.
Oh, did you not? Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
Oh fuck! Edit that part.
Rub salt in the oranges.
Oh,
no,
Jesus.
no. I mean, like, you know, the nomination is the win.
Exactly.
I mean, I didn't get a statue. no.
But you got a certificate.
I did get a statue.
Exactly.
That's so funny because that literally came yesterday.
Oh, did it? Oh, no
came
shit.
yesterday, and all of my other colleagues who got nominated with me had their certificate for like a week, and I was like, "Where's mine?" Like,
not on me.
okay. I was like, you know, not trying to say who's, you know, there's no one more important than anyone on a production,
Yep.
but I also did direct it and was the main producer
And wrote it.
co-wrote it. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Like, and it came, and my mum and dad, they sent them a photo, like, oh my god, like,
Oh, that's so cool as well.
yeah,
And signed by Rusty Crowe himself as
by
well.
Rusty. I don't know whether that was a real thing or it was a printed signature, but
Russell Crowe, if you're listening to this, can you call in and let us know?
Yeah.
Please, it'd be appreciated.
oh, he's on the line now.
Oh, is it? This is where Riley does his best Russell Crowe impression.
That will never happen.
Oh, damn it. I'm trying to catch him out. But, oh, that's so, I don't want to say nice, but it's great that you ran the full spectrum of a good cry and a bad cry on that set as well.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Do you have any less sad stories?
I got some ripper stories. Like, you know, like so I was part of another major production that was, I'll tell you it, and I'm really great friends, and it was the first time I'd ever been on a feature film.
Awesome.
It's called Wog Boys Forever.
Oh,
Wog Boys 3.
yes. God, I think I had a fair few people that I know that worked on that from
Yeah.
memory. Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually like at the time, so we shot that in mid 2021.
Yes.
This was like we were going in and out of lockdowns. We were literally just about to go back into lockdown in Melbourne, and the state government called, all right, we're going into lockdown again. So the production quickly did some green screen filming, shooting of some television stuff so they could be classified in production because they were maybe like a day or two off.
Oh, fuck. That would have really destroyed that film as well.
Yeah,
Like,
so
they didn't get
it
it.
would have literally been, all right, we have to, you know, tools down for
Yeah.
a month or two. So as soon as they did that, they classified, they were in. It was a very smart move on the producer's part.
Oh, absolutely.
And what it meant was, it was great because what it meant was, you know, we had an irregular amount of sort of quietness is not the word, but, you know, not people, stacks of people. I mean, the material of the Wog Boys
Yep.
is sort of the Greek Italian community. They love that material. They love those
They
characters.
really do, huh?
The original film was like,
20 years ago, I want to say.
it was
it? Yeah.
1999.
Oh, holy shit. Yeah, wow.
And it was basically, at the time, it was like the third biggest Australian film in the box office ever.
Oh my God! Wow.
It made like $11 million in the Australian box office,
Yeah.
which, Americans listen to this, they go, huh,
That's not
lol.
even an indie film. in
That's not
America.
even, yeah. But it's in the Australian box office. That's huge. And it was just such a smash here.
Yeah.
And, whether it's your comedy or not,
It's an acquired. It's much like Vegemite, I would say. An
it's
acquired,
an acquired
taste.
taste.
Yeah.
You have too big a spoonful. You're like, ugh.
Yeah.
You got to take it as it comes in little drabs. But it's, ownership of
Their own
ethnicity.
stereotype.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, their own stereotypes. And so I worked on this film basically because the director was, his name's Frank Latito. He's a mentor of mine, a great friend.
Oh, awesome.
And he'd moved back from America to work on a project. He's Australian, but he'd worked back to work on a project, and it got cancelled literally as he was getting on the plane.
Fucking hell.
Terrible, terrible scenario.
Jesus Christ.
So he came back and lived in my hometown. He, just to fill in his summer,
Yep.
opened up a pop-up ice cream shop.
Oh, no shit.
As you do. And I worked at a little cinema down the road, basically like 500 meters away. So I'd go and we'd chat all the time.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And it was great. And he became a good friend, and I'd bounce ideas off him. And then he told me, oh, just quietly, I got this directing gig. I was like, that's amazing. I said, I'll do anything to work on the production. And then what happened was he got the job. And he's like, I basically, this is why I make up for and will. This is why I said this. I basically just annoyed him for a job. I was like, hey, Frank. And then within like a month, I'd maybe send him 10 text messages like, hey, don't forget about me. Don't forget about me, please. He's like, oh, fine. I'll give you a job. I'll get you a job. And I was like, great. Thank you.
Now, for anyone listening, this only works if you're good friends with them. Don't just be sending people random DMs on Instagram being like, hey, I saw you just got Mortal Kombat 2. Do you need anyone to work on that with you? Don't do that.
Don't do that.
But
Like,
if they're your friends, go for gold.
100%. But I like to think I'd formed a good friendship. But I've had people who've done that before to me who've been like,
have they?
They're literally like,
Name and shame them right here on this podcast.
But I think that it's one of those things when you start to kind of do stuff.
Yep.
My Instagram, how you get your regular messages and you get like requested.
Requests. They
My
sit in that
requested
weird
starts
little
getting
folder.
really. I'm like, who the hell are you? Oh, that's very nice that you're offering. I had someone like, oh, do you want to help? I need. It was so funny that I just did literally the other night was part of a music video shoot.
Oh,
and
awesome.
it was basically, oh, do you want to help shooting it? I was like, yeah, but we shot it yesterday. So if you had read what I posted, then you would have known that we shot it yesterday. But that's fine, no. So Ansel was like, thanks.
Why do any homework? Huh?
Why do any
Honestly.
homework?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm loud.
Oh no, it's all right.
But we so Frank basically, so back to the story. Frank, he gave me a job. I was assistant to the location manager. It's again, this is how this was sort of my origins of falling into that department, which is sort of literally stumbling backwards into that department with no clue what I was doing.
Anything that gets you on set is always a positive, I say.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And so I was ready, primed to do that. And then what happened was the producer and the location manager had a big blow up 7-8 days before production started. And so then they quit.
Oh.
And I was Frank, because I knew him. And, I think Frank had a lot of trust in me, which I'm very grateful for.
Yep.
He basically said, do you want to do the job? Which is be the head of department. And I was like,
Oh.
1, I've never worked on a feature film.
Yep.
2,
Yep.
I've never worked in this department.
Yep.
3, I've never been a head of department. And 4, I think actually I'm younger. I'm like the youngest person in set. And I mean like younger than the runners. So,
Oh my God. So yes, of course I will.
So yes, I will. But someone's got to sort of help me through this a little bit. And so we did very, very graciously, the line producer who was the co-producer too sort of said, yep, I'll help you through. And
Oh, fantastic.
so it was great. I learned so much in that set. I don't think it's one of those times where you work your guts out. I probably slept 4 hours a
Oh
night.
my God, that's
I was
exhausting.
first on set, one of the last to leave.
You kind of have to be with locations as well, huh?
Yeah. So you're the one opening up.
Yeah.
But I was a one-person department, so I was basically like putting cones out, make sure everyone's parked properly, the house is open, the heaters are on.
There's so much work from locations.
Yeah.
And like for, again, people that don't know, and I think they don't well, most people in your average day don't know what locations managers do or that they even exist. But then you're like, they have to be there to, like you said, put out the traffic cones to make sure people know where they're going to set. Like, make sure there's organized parking, make sure that all the doors are unlocked. Just anything like that is so 100%. Much fucking work.
It's so much work, and then you're, you know, I like to think of myself as a pretty positive, upbeat person, and I was sort of like, you know, I was just so happy to be on that set.
Oh yeah.
And but that being said, we were. This is where I lead to this story of.
Ooh.
Yeah, we. There's a few times where we basically did it. I want to say it was like 20 something locations in that shoot, and that's a lot.
Yeah, that's
a lot. We did a few times. We did 3 in a day.
Oh,
and like full company moves and everything.
So that's turning up super early for that first location.
Yep.
Getting everything ready for it.
Yep.
Getting out of that
Shooting
location.
for, you know, a few hours.
Oh, sorry. Yes, the filming part. That's important as well, apparently. But then completely removing everything, every trace from that location, and then doing it all over again 2 more times.
Yep.
That must have been fucked.
Yeah, it was. We did and it was funny because one of the last ones. I mean, the film's out now, so I can sort of tell this story. But we had a hilarious situation where they wanted to change. So if you've ever had anything to do with like state government, I had a great contact within the Melbourne, like specifically the Melbourne Council.
Yep.
So that was great. They were so helpful, but doing like a train station or something like that is so complicated.
God. Oh.
And we basically had one lined up, and then I was told maybe about 5 days beforehand, we're going to change the train station. And I just basically turned around. And at that point, I'd gained a little bit more confidence. And I was like, well, no, you're not. Because 1, it takes maybe 2 weeks for them to even read the email.
Yep.
And then another week for them to decide.
Yep.
We've gone through all this rigmarole. What are you doing? Why are you doing this to me? Are you trying to kill me? Like, and no, we're going to change it. I was like,
how?
Right? Okay. So we put in our applications. We turned up on the day to a completely different train station.
Okay.
No one knew we were coming.
Oh, good stuff.
And this is a crew of 35 to 40 people.
It was a large production.
It wasn't a small one.
Considered.
And the train manager comes to me, and I am an honest person.
Yep.
I like to think that. You know, I will be honest. I will tell the truth.
I don't know if that always works in the favor of a locations manager.
Yeah, no, it really doesn't. And it's something that I had to learn. It was like, she's like, where's your, I've got your permits with you. I was like, I do. I don't have them. I'm so sorry. We're going to get them to you.
Yep.
I do apologize. That's just a fluff on my part.
Yeah.
Okay. She was very suspicious.
Yep.
So we started filming on the steps of this, like, you know, not the platform, but like the, you know, walkway to the train station. We're filming this whole scene. And then she comes back down and, you know, I don't go, he's just like, he's half an hour. He just got delayed,
Just
you know.
Traffic, am I right? During the peak of lockdown, honestly.
And really, she was looking at me like, I think she went into her little office and made some phone calls, and then she came out again. I sort of, hey again.
Yeah.
She went, be honest. You don't have them, do you? And I was like, no. And I was so far down the rabbit hole of lie. I was like, I can't just admit it now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, no, he's on his way. I swear. He's so close. And then because the director and I had such a good relationship, I just quietly went to him. I was like, you have 20 minutes before the police are called, so you better get the shot. Let's get the pardon my French. Let's get the fuck out of here.
That is so stressful.
Yeah. And it was like, okay. And I was like, and I literally am like leaving. I'm like, we're going. Bye. Thank you. You're wonderful.
My colleague's, he's just around the corner.
My colleague, he'll get to you soon. Oh, fuck, it was terrible. But, you know, it's just one of those things where you're like,
Sorry.
Yeah.
What is it? It's better to ask for forgiveness than beg for permission. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, that wasn't even the worst story in that film. Like, we had so many locations and we had so much love from the community, like so much. It was one of those things where we're at a house on Reservoir and every single neighbor is outside taking photos of us.
Of course. I mean, what else are you going to do during lockdown as well?
Exactly. They were so bored. They're like, activity on the street.
Wow, my God, what are they shooting? What
oh
are
my
they?
God. And
I love the questions from people as well. What film is this? And like, obviously they know Wog Boy as well.
Yeah.
And I do want to say for any of our British listeners as well, Wog is a bit of a different term in Australia. Opposed to what it's traditionally meant as in Britain, and I still feel here. So if you do say, like, we're shooting a new Wog Boy, like, wow. Every other film, they're like, oh, I've never heard of it. You're like, yeah, obviously, we're filming it just now. Why would you have seen it?
Yeah, it's like, oh, when's it coming out? I don't know. Like,
I know.
When they finish it?
Yeah, go and ask. I don't know. Just look it
like,
up.
oh, it'll be, can I watch it online? We're filming it right now. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and they'll take a photo of something. They're like, "Who's that?" And I was like, "Why'd you take a photo of them if you don't know who it is?"
It's so true.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
yeah.
Anyway, sorry. A house and reservoir.
Yeah, but like, that you got like the positivity, the love of community getting around you. We had another instance where, so one of the main actors, Vince Colosimo, his character's in the film. He's got
Vince Colosimo as well. Yeah.
The Cash, Vince Colosimo. Vince is a lovely guy. Very funny, very quirky, but great guy. And his character has a mansion, and that mansion is sort of like, there's a Ferrari parked out the front. The character's made it, whereas the other main character, played by Nick Giannopoulos, hasn't made it, and he's sort of like, being a taxi driver.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to... Now, when I preface this story, I will not name who did this certain action, but...
was it one of the actors?
I'm not going to say.
Okay, all right. I won't push you anymore.
But anyone who was on the production knows exactly who I'm talking about.
All right, well, I know a few people, so I'm going to try and get them on the podcast to name names.
Sam, I'm going to tell you straight after.
All right, anyone listening, DM me $5 or PayPal, I will tell you.
He takes PayPal, he takes PayApp.
I take cash, throw some coins at me in the street, please.
Cash money. Cash
money.
Yeah.
Cash.
Cash.
Bitcoin as well. I'll take literally anything.
I mean, we're in the film industry.
I have nothing.
We are savages.
Yeah.
But we were on this house, and we're on the balcony of this house shooting this scene. It's a dialogue scene. These two characters are talking to each other, and I think it was a neighbor next door, or the neighbor next door to the neighbor.
Yep.
Starts pulling out a chainsaw and starts just,
of
ruining
course.
everything.
Of course.
And so someone,
Yep.
during the middle of the shot, and how bad can I swear at this?
Oh, please swear away.
Okay, I'd say this for historical accuracy.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
That little fucking cunt Riley, he had one fucking job in the middle of the take. It's
Whoa.
like full on screaming. And so I'm standing there, I'm very like, kill them with kindness, play dumb, because I'm like, what are you going to do? I'm going to be nice to you, and you're going to be an asshole to me. So I'm like, I didn't hear anything. Hey guys, everything okay?
Yeah.
Everyone stopped. It's in the middle of a take. And, I understand it was really frustrating. A plane goes over, it ruins a take.
Yep.
A chainsaw down the road goes off. A car honks, it ruins a take. But it was what it was. And,
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like,
you know.
that's not like you can stand in everybody's back garden simultaneously being like, don't make any noise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, so basically everyone stopped. The sort of the set was a bit solemn for a moment. I heard over the radio, oh, okay, well, I think we'll have to go again. And it was just really a weird vibe.
Yeah.
However, I've never felt more love on a film set in that moment, because everyone got around me. It was like, oh, you okay? And I'm like, quietly, I was dying inside. Like, I was like 24. I was like, I fucked up. I'm about to get fired. Oh my God, this is the end of my career. Like, I was like, inside I was crying, but at the same time, outside, I was just like, hi everyone, how are you? Yeah, is everything? Oh, sorry about that.
Let's
keep going. And oh my God. And even the director who got around me was just like, don't worry, I'm gonna admit the name. Yeah, that person's a cunt. And I'm just like, thanks, mate. But it was, and I even had one of the editing assistants call me just to check in on me because it's on the footage. And I'm just like,
oh my God, have you checked the bloopers?
I haven't, but I said to the director, if you get me that piece of footage, I reckon I could have some seed money for a few projects.
Oh my God, that'd be so good.
Just a few back end negotiations.
Blackmail you're talking about.
Yeah, basically. No, but it was. I understand the frustrations of doing a long form production, but
Oh, look, I get that as well, but like that is in no way, shape, or form your fault.
no,
like for a
it's
start,
just bad behavior.
so don't blame people. It's not their fault. If somebody fucks up really big on something, and you're like, yeah, don't call them a cunt, but you can get annoyed at them.
Yeah.
Like, don't take it out on them.
Absolutely.
You can push that stuff deep down inside, like everybody should.
Yeah.
But
I had an instance just on this film I've just done where one of the ACs, he just forgot to swap a battery.
Yeah.
Forgot to swap a he just slipped his mind. He forgot to swap one of the cards.
Yep.
During the middle of a take, the card ran out.
Yep.
And then, you know what? It's his fuck up.
Yep.
And he was so like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. He thought he was going to. I was like, man, it happens.
Yep.
Don't
Yep.
let it happen again. We move on.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Yeah, exactly. And that's all you need.
That's all you need. And
Yeah.
it's there's you get more with honey than you do with vinegar. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of vinegar in the film industry.
so much. But there's a lot of honey to it. I think that
There is, that's
you
true.
got a lot of generosity and a lot of kindness.
There is.
Like, when you're doing short form stuff too, you bloody begging, oh, everyone, can you fund my GoFundMe page? Or
Oh my God, yeah.
Or can my mum make some spaghetti for the crew? Or
It's the most adorable thing. I've worked on a lot of short form as well, predominantly as an actor.
Yeah.
But it's like, Mum made everybody some salads today. And
Yeah.
you're like, thanks, Mum.
Yeah.
Like, that's genuinely appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're like, I'm happy to be here. The only reason I'm here is because I like the script and I like everyone I'm working with. And it's like, it's generally a pretty positive vibe as well. Hollywood TV shows or films, it's a little bit more of a strange atmosphere sometimes. And it's not always about the passion. And I'll say I'm more than happy to work for money on something I don't like as well. But it's not that
I feel you.
camaraderie as well.
Yeah.
With like a lot of the short form or indie productions as well, like you were saying,
Yeah.
everyone's in it together and you're like, yeah, we're making something we all love. And then sometimes you're on other things and you're just like, this is fine. I'm more than happy to have a well catered breakfast, lunch, and dinner and get paid way more money than I can make in a month doing any other job.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this is my passion project.
I agree, and you got to find the balance.
Yeah.
Like, that being said, like I just produced this film. I said to the other producer and the director, I was like, I love you guys so much, and I'm having such a good time, but I don't think I've ever worked harder and been so broke at the same time. And they just both laughed and like, us too. And I was like, we're in the same boat together, guys. Like it's
Indie productions are great for, first off, putting you into negative in your bank account.
We're in the black.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, we're in the red, I should say.
Yeah, I always get confused with that saying as well. I never understand it. But then secondly, you're also like, I'm fucking proud of what I'm doing here.
Exactly.
I mean, hopefully. Sometimes you're halfway through it and you're like, what's the best way to accidentally injure myself so I don't have to work here anymore? But it's not like a long-lasting injury. No, not yet. Not yet. So anyone listening, if this does happen in the future on your film set, just know it's because it's a bad film.
So just insurers, we know that when you have an insurance, insurance investigator comes in for the onset accident.
Edit this part, fuck. No, but like I've yet to have that happen in anything where I'm fully against. Although I have been tempted a couple of times.
I'm sure. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like, it's just like, and I think it's the true test of any professional. It's like, even when the times are shit, it's just how do you keep going and how do you keep surviving
And a lot of the time you're there because of the people you work with that you become de facto friends with, and then like a lot of the time you will stay in touch with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've got so many friends I've met from sets and stuff like that, and I've just been like,
bonding.
That's it. That's what I was saying to you before this podcast as well. We were talking about what's the best way to dance around this? A project that we both know about, and it's just like trauma bonding left, right, and center from it. But met some absolutely fantastic people as well, and like genuinely made some great connections from it. Yeah, and like at the end of the day, some good stories for this podcast.
Yeah. Well, at least it profited somewhere. Yeah, you got great material.
I didn't die. I lost a lot of money in that production as well. And I can tell a lot of funny stories about it on this podcast without naming names.
Yeah, love it.
So I'm happy about it.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, you do it for the story. That's what it's.
Do it for the story.
You don't really do it for the paycheck, because we'd be bloody morons if we all did it for the paycheck.
I don't think you can physically live off those paychecks a lot of the time as well. Yeah,
100%.
Which is sad. So that's why you should fund us.
Yeah, fun.
If you're listening, governments or big budget people, please fund us.
Give us money, please.
Oh, you don't even have to fund us. Just give us money.
Just give us money. Just like, seriously, just give us money.
As I said, I will link my PayPal account. So please just give me money.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. Hello. Now, before we get into our next story, I've got to tell you the main reason why I'm able to fumble through my awkward and embarrassing day-to-day occasions. Coffee. Now, fortunately for myself and all of the listeners, we have paired with one of Melbourne's best coffee companies, Coffee on Q, a coffee worth talking about. Get ready to caffeinate yourself through your next awkward moment with Coffee on Q's signature Elevate blend. Crafted in-house with precision, each sip delivers delightful flavour notes of strawberry, chocolate and marmalade. And here's the deal you won't want to miss. Coffee on Q is offering an exclusive discount to all our listeners. Simply use the code WBFT15 at checkout to enjoy an incredible 15% off all coffee purchases. That's right, WBFT15 is a key to savings, making sure you're properly awake to remember your next big embarrassing moment. Now, this code is valid for all coffee products, so make sure you stock up on your favourites. And the best part? You can use the code WBFT15 as many times as you like. So don't miss out on the opportunity to enjoy the finest coffee Melbourne has to offer. Simply visit Coffee on Q, and that's QCUE.com.au, and enter the discount code WBFT15 at checkout to unlock 15% off your next coffee order. That's WBFT15 at coffeeonq.com.au. Coffee on Q, where awkward moments pair perfectly with your daily cup.
I've had great experiences where, like, productions have had funny things happen, but it's all positive. Like, so the film I mentioned before, which has sort of been, again, like, obviously it's hard to sort of do this without sort of tooting your own horn.
Toot away, please. We need some more positivity in this industry.
I mean, I made a film called Hatchback. It's a little short. It's
I will take this moment to toot your horn. I also edit out what I just said there. But I genuinely love this film. So, friend of the show as well, Jackson Tozer, is one of the titular stars of this short film as well. And I always pronounce Mr. Curry's name Stephen, thank God. I always call it Stefan. Let's call him Stefan, sorry. But they are Stephen Curry and Stephen Curry. Oh my God, I just fucking did it there. And Jackson Tozer.
Because he's fucked it up. He's on the list.
No, I'm so sorry. Oh God, I'm so sorry. But they're the two stars of it.
Yeah.
Play off each other absolutely fantastically. Great little premise. And fuck, it's just a good short film.
Oh, thanks, man.
I mean, it's all good.
The story of that is a friend of mine, I was making a film called Rabbits at uni. They were the editor of my film, and during the editing sessions, they were like, "Oh, I had a great idea for a short," and they said it, and I was like, "That's a great idea. Well, don't forget to write it. Well, we've done this. We'll talk about it."
Yeah.
Life happened.
Yep, of course.
A year goes by. And I sort of prompted it with, whatever happened with that idea? Oh, yeah, I'm still going to do something with it. And her name's Chloe. I love her, but I sometimes need a bit of a push to get something done.
Of course.
That's just. And we'd been talking about it maybe like 3 weeks before COVID really hit and we were all in lockdown. And so I basically said, all right, you have no excuse.
Yep.
I know you're not doing nothing. 3 weeks, it's in my inbox, no questions.
Perfect.
And she was like, okay, great. So she wrote the first draft. It was great. Bare bones were there. Needed some work. So I sort of came on as a screenwriter to help beef it up. We sort of spent, I want to say maybe 5-6 months literally over lockdowns. Literally, we did it over Zoom. Every 2 weeks. We'd hop on a Zoom call for maybe 3 to 4 hours.
What a good fucking project to have over lockdown as well.
I am a bit of a social butterfly. Yeah. I was crawling the walls during especially the first, like 2020.
Yeah.
And that was like every 2 weeks, we'd hop on a Zoom call for a few hours, go through it a few times, do some rewrites. All right, great. And then, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, we'd come back. And I think by sort of the September period, we had really felt that we had something good. I'd made a film called Rabbits. I'd toured it the year before. I'd recognized a big fact that if you have someone with any form of name power in your short, it really elevates, one, the success, but two, how far-reaching you can get the film.
I think people are just way more, and it's the same with big budget feature films. Yeah. If you recognize someone, you want to watch it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we made a list, basically, it was like, who is in Victoria?
Yep.
Who are Melbourne actors? A lot of names on that list, but there was 3 main names.
Oh.
I won't say who the others are.
Oh, fair enough.
But we got in touch with all of them. But I am such a social butterfly that I'd actually met Stephen at the very start of 2020 at some film festivals.
I believe it's pronounced Stefan, sorry. I'm sorry, Stephen, if you're listening. I was only joking.
Do you know what's so funny? He laughs at this because he's spelled exactly the same way as the American basketballer.
That's yeah.
He hates the American basketballer because every time you Google his name, it's
He's
like
not the top, is he?
you've got to type in Stephen Curry, actor.
Or Australian
actor, and then he comes up.
Yeah.
And I'd met Stephen at some film festivals. We met twice.
Oh, awesome.
We got along really well, I thought at least. And he was just an awesome guy. You know, when you meet someone that you really have an admiration for, and it's rare when you meet someone and you're like, you are everything I expect you to be, and then some more.
That's so good. And for someone that's had such a long and storied career as well, and still acting to this day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Still have a very successful career at the moment. Like, he's doing so much at the moment. He just is, like, even last year, he just hasn't stopped working, basically. And which is awesome, because I think, he just loves it. He loves what he does. And so I sort of got in touch with him, and, you know, for his detriment and my benefit, he'd had a project which he'd been trying to get up for ages, which was a show with the Melbourne Theatre Company. It had sadly been cancelled straight away because of COVID.
Yep.
And he just wasn't doing anything at that time. And I just happened to email him at just the sweet spot. It was just perfect. If the stars aligned.
COVID sucks, but you could get some pretty big names to do your projects at that time as well.
Absolutely. And, you know, we'd reached out to some other bigger name actors, but I knew I wanted Stephen, and I'm someone who, like, I'd like to have a personal relationship with the actor before I cast them.
Nice.
I don't really, you know, I find sometimes going through managers, they do gatekeep a lot, and I understand why.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure that they all get messaged from weirdos, so they kind of have to. But yeah.
You know, they've got to do their job. They've got to look out for their client. They've got to look out for themselves.
Yeah.
But sometimes I find that, you know, they do look out for themselves just as much as their client.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's one of those things where it's like, you know, how can I, what's 20% of $0? It's still $0. So it's like, well, why would I even bother putting this in front of my client?
Yeah.
So Stephen just happened to really enjoy the script. And then as soon as I told him, well, basically, I'm in talks with Jackson Tozer.
Yep.
He was like, love him.
Oh,
never actually,
fantastic.
they'd worked on a project together, but never had a scene together. They just met at the lunch table.
Oh,
and were like, they'd really got along. And, you know, as soon as I said to Jackson, all right, hey, Jackson, I'm in early talks with Stephen about this. Jackson was like, well, I'm in.
Oh,
and then
of course.
Stephen, as soon as I said, Stephen, Jackson's in. He's like, let's do it. Fuck it, let's do it.
Fuck yes.
And so it just sort of worked out really beautifully where everything slipped into place. Curry said, oh, look, there's one fly in the ointment. I've just got to make sure that I'm free for these dates in February of 2021, which are, I've got to go to Sydney for this feature film shoot. I was like, okay, sure, yeah. I was like, we will do anything. You know, I will move the production wherever you want it to
film in Sydney if that's easier for you.
Basically. And, you know, this is Stephen for you.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I really started to go, so what is this film you're shooting? I just sort of got really curious. He's like, all right. He calls me Lumps. So, because my last name's Sugar Lumps, he likes to give nicknames. Now, that's a great one. You know, thanks, cuz. He goes, Lumps, just okay, keep this on the quiet, but I'm in the new Thor. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. What? It's like, oh, so just nothing big or anything. Right. So this is the humbleness of the man. He went and shot on the biggest feature film probably Australia has ever shot to date, I would say. Biggest budget, maybe.
Yeah.
Close to.
But certainly like
in the top few.
Yeah, exactly.
He had a role where he's in the first 20 minutes of the film. He has a massive scene with Thor, Chris Hemsworth. He plays this like alien leader.
Oh,
yeah, and
cool.
He goes, oh, welcome to Ziawasa.
Oh, my God, is that?
That's him.
Oh my God.
He's fully prosthetic up.
Yeah.
And
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And I joked. I was like, oh, you still got some blue in your ass crack? Because he was painted in blue. He was like a
head to toe, yeah.
Head to toe, he was a Smurf. And but this shows you the humbleness of the man. He literally went and did that. Flew back, had a few days off, then came and did my little short film and wouldn't take any money for it.
Oh my God.
So that just shows you...
Because he's got that Thor money.
He's got that Marvel money. So he's like, He's like, Lumps, I'm set for a while. It's all good.
I'm good. I've just put a down payment on another house. I don't need your $12. You can afford me.
Yeah, but like, great guy. But, like we had such a great time making that film and so many funny stories happening. We had a guy playing a dead body. The film's based on literally two guys trying to dispose of a dead body and making a complete hash of it. They're just shocking. One's sort of Stephen plays sort of the straight man, really professional, like
the seasoned disposal expert, whatever
guy,
it is,
whatever you want to call it. And Jackson's character comes in as just this goofy moron who's just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Help? Huh? I'm doing this as a favor. Comes
the classic clown, like quote unquote for your traditional clown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I very much looked at their on-screen dynamic as very much Steve Martin and John Candy in Planes, Trains and Automobiles.
Okay, nice.
And you've got Steve Curry playing the Steve Martin-esque character, very straight down the line, but we laugh at his frustration and his, oh my God, I fucking want to kill him, but I can't, but I, and then...
It's just little side comments as well. And
and then Jackson Tozer playing the sort of John Candy, silly, goofy, a lot of heart, but, bit of a moron, bit simple.
A little bit.
And, but yeah, so we had a great story where we shot over a 5-day period, 4 days of filming, and the second to last day we're shooting in a film studio, doing all this warehouse stuff, which is basically the first half of the film.
Yeah.
And we had goes down a road in Port Melbourne, police, low loader, the whole shebang.
Wow, so I just presumed it was green screen purely because that would have been such a pain in the ass to film. But wow, that's impressive.
Shot that, speaking of Vegemite, we shot that right next to the Vegemite factory in Port Melbourne.
Yeah, wow.
So if that's not an Australian story for you, I don't know what is.
You didn't even get the Vegemite sign in the background as well.
I didn't because I didn't want to. Yeah, I know I should have.
Oh, you have to kind of clear that with Vegemite.
I know. I was like, but it was funny because I got to set on this location really early in the morning to scout it, like maybe at 2 hours before everyone, just to really plan it out in my head. And the factory at that point is like, oh, that's peanut butter. And then at about midday, 1 o'clock, Vegemite. Literally, that's what they do. This one factory makes peanut butter and Vegemite, and you can tell
that's
exactly
hilarious.
when they switch over.
I drive past it sometimes,
and
all the time. I've never smelled the peanut butter before, but I always smell the Vegemite around about midday.
Yeah. It's so funny, and I was just like, classic Australia. And so we were like priming to film this day, and then the afternoon of the day before, the low loader company calls and we're like, oh, so we're all ready for tomorrow. Great. Where's your safety supervisor with this specific qualification?
Yep.
And they went, I'm sorry, what are you talking about? And they're like, oh, you got to have this person. I was like, no, I called you telling you I have never done this before, and you told me that you would sort it all out, and I've never heard anything about this. And they're like, well, we can't give it to you unless you have this person.
Oh, shit.
So I was like, oh my God, kill me now. Great. Okay. So the whole crew basically, while we're finishing this day's worth of shooting, everyone's going into problem solving mode. My assistant director's calling people.
Yep.
I'm calling people. Another person's calling people. And basically we cannot, like within less than 24 hours notice, find this specific person who we need. We just needed to employ someone literally for the day.
Yeah.
Couldn't find anyone. They're all booked. And I'm like, oh God, we're going to have to, oh no. And so the cheeky idea comes out. And this is, I really am the by the book like I really am. We'd been transporting this little terrible hatchback, the film's called Hatchback, this little shit box. It was technically roadworthy, but I didn't want to drive it because I just felt it was a bit... Bought it for $400 off Marketplace.
Oh my God, was that all?
100% true.
Holy shit.
It was the most... So this is the car you're selling? Great. How much do you want for it? Yeah, I'll go get that in cash right now.
Just down the ATM. Fuck.
Done. Literally, that's what it was. And so it worked. It drove. I'd had a temporary, vehicle registration for it, but it was a fucking shitbox. And
I mean, for $400, I don't know how it's not, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. And so we were carrying it. The co-rider, Chloe, her father was transporting it on literally like a regular trailer, this little mini trailer. He'd had it strapped to the car.
Wow. And
we're transporting it from location to location. And so my cinematographer, Anthony, and he's also a producer of the film, he looked at me and went, why don't we just use that? And I go, that's actually a really good idea. I walked to my assistant director. I go, this is what we're going to do. And he went, no, that's not going to work. That's illegal. You can't do that.
Yep.
And I said, well, look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to show up tomorrow. The police are going to be there because I've basically employed 2 members of Victoria Police to oversee this whole shoot to make sure it's near the police presence and everyone's happy. If they look at us and go, no, that's not happening, we'll stop. We won't do it.
Yep.
If they go, that's great, we're golden.
Yeah.
So the next morning, these 2 highway patrol who had they had the best day on the job. They literally sat in their car.
Oh, for sure.
They got to watch. They really didn't get to work too hard.
I don't think that, yeah.
They literally, I walk up to them, hello. I'm just putting it all on. I'm like,
kill them with kindness.
Kill them with kindness. Like, hello. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, we are so grateful you're part of this. And so here it is. And what I'd done was in that night, I'd called this other rigging person who's rigging up the car from like suction cups and things on the outside of the car.
Yep.
So basically, by that point, it was all suction cupped on and everything, like all these railings, and so it looked pretty good and pretty decent. And they look at it and go, oh, wow, it looks amazing. And I'm like, wow, well, thanks. All right, well, so basically, this is what we're doing today.
Yep.
And behind my back, I'm just going, thumbs up.
Yeah.
My DOP.
Go.
Where we go? So, yeah, we closed down this road in Port Melbourne, and it was, to anyone who was in March the 10th or something on 2021, I'm sorry for causing delays on that specific road. That was what it was for.
Oh, there's not that many people down there, I don't think. So
a lot of, but we literally did laps up and back down this road. And the funny thing was, another funny story was that because we were on a road, we didn't really have a public toilet. So we basically asked one of the cafes down the road to, hey, can we use your toilet? We'll buy coffees from you all day. They're like, yeah, sure, that's fine. And the guy who played the dead body was the most loveliest patient man. His name's Andrew Godson. He's a great actor.
You would have to be patient.
He was so
What
patient.
happens to him in that film?
He literally gets flung around. His head gets whacked. He's like getting carried. He was perfect in the role. And he's a good guy and a great friend. But, at one point during the day, he's like, I've got to go to the loo. I was like, oh, yeah, sure. Okay, someone's got to drive Andrew to the cafe. And Victoria Police go, oh, yeah, sure. The highway patrol's like, yeah, sure, I'll take him.
Oh, my God.
But what the funny thing is Andrew's full-on dress, blood dripping down his face, a bullet hole in the middle of his forehead.
Right in the middle of his head.
Victoria Police is escorting a walking corpse into this cafe, and people are going, what the fuck am I looking at?
Everything okay?
Yeah. It's just like the funny imagery of it. It's just like, you can't write that stuff. But
that would have been fucking hilarious to see as well, I'll be honest.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, they came back, they told me the story, and I'm just like, it's fucking golden.
Why didn't we get that on camera?
Yeah, I was like, damn it, someone would have followed them. Goodness.
That could have been a perfect behind the scenes or a short film in itself.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever played Dead Body before?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
So not exclusively, I usually start off alive. But from a lot of stunt work and stuff like that, I'm always getting killed.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly just lying down dead. It sucks. It's so difficult. Like, for the chap that played it in yours, kudos to them. It is so hard just to lie still, not breathe, and not react to anything that's going around you or going on around you. It's fucking tough.
Very tough. You got to be able to control your breathing.
Yep.
Really be able, even your eye movements.
Yeah.
Really basically just, I think the best thing to do is be half asleep, but
genuinely, I think if you can fall asleep, but very shallow breaths if you're not directly on camera as well. Yeah. But it's not flinching when somebody's 5 inches away from your face and you're like, oh.
It's tough.
It's super tough. It's super tough.
Have you got any good stories of that?
Oh, I've told a few. I'm trying not to move, and then I'm always scared of people standing on my head as well. Because you get killed in a scene, and then you have to lie there whilst other people are going around you. And I'm always like, please don't step in my face. Please don't step in my face. Please don't step in my face. Okay, I can relax a little bit now. It's one of those ones where it's it's good to be a dead body in a scene because then you don't have to wonder or if you get punched and then you have to wait say 10 beats or 15 seconds until you come back into the fight, you have to do all this little wandering around in the background being oh, it hurt, but still keep an eye on the action, and it's tough. Whereas if you just get killed straight away, you're like, let's get a little lie down and a nap now. This is nice.
Oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll say this as well. I've said it before in the podcast, but incredible stunt coordinator in Victoria, Chris Weir. He's got a saying where you die hard and you die comfy.
Yeah, yeah, I heard you say that.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and I was like, that's always stuck in my head.
brilliant.
Yeah,
Like,
it's such a good piece of advice.
yeah. I mean, like, Andrew, who was the dead body, he was like, for like a day or two, he's literally just propped up like this, like full on, like slumped in a chair.
Oh, it looks so uncomfortable.
So uncomfortable. And then the second day, he's literally like I reckon this is probably, pardon me. Sorry, hold on.
You're good.
This is probably one of the most enjoyable moments I've ever watched being filmed. And it was what we did this scene in Hatchback where and it's, in my opinion, it's the highlight of the film. And I've had a lot of people agree with that.
Yeah.
It's the midpoint of the film where the two characters can't fit the body in the car. How is he going to fit in? He's like a 6'4", 6'5" guy in this tiny little crap box. How is he going to fit? He's not fitting the boot. His head's too big. He's sticking out. So it's basically this montage of just different ways they're trying to attempt to put his body in the car.
Yep.
And I had, as the direction, we shot listed it. My cinematographer very wisely said, look, this isn't going to work. Why don't we just roll up? And like, that's a great idea. You get on your easy rig and we'll just sort of follow them around and see what happens. And, this is what the testament to real professionals are. I'd said this to them. I said, all right, guys, get from A to M to Z. Oh, sorry, gets from A to M to R to Z. In the beats of the story. What you say, what you do, I don't care.
Yep.
Go for it. Have fun. They knew their characters so back to front. They were literally like, great. They loved it. And we rolled up for, I'm not joking, 10, 12 minutes.
Holy
so the
shit.
takes of these scenes are longer than the film is.
Yeah.
And it was some of the funniest thing. I would love to, as like a little BTS thing, I've got that footage to release it as just that we did 2 takes of it. Both were like 12 to 15 minute takes.
Holy shit.
And poor Andrew explained the body. He's getting dragged around. His body, his like head gets whacked against the side of the car. He gets dropped at one point. He's fully like imploding in on himself.
Oh,
it
looks so uncomfortable.
But he did literally. I mean, sure, it's not the most glamorous role, but I just get a front seat to watch these two just go to town.
I would find it so hard not to break.
Oh
I'll
my
be
God.
honest with you.
That was what was the most impressive bit, because I'm behind the monitor or I'm behind the camera, just like I'm just like, and then there was a moment where the second take of this montage, I was the one who we had to break because I was laughing in the background. I was just like, just can't, guys, I can't hold it anymore. Like, so like great experience. And
that's so good as well. Well, I think when you're laughing, you're like, this is funny. Like, this is comedy.
Well, my biggest worry was just sort of like, I found it funny. Will anyone else? And we played. We premiered that. World premiere was at opening night of St Kilda Film Festival. We were the last film of the lot. I think so. Jackson Tozer was sitting next to me, and I gripped his shoulder as the nameplate of Hatchback came up.
Yeah.
And I don't think I let go for about 2 minutes. He's like, Riley, stop! You're hurting me.
Let me enjoy this, please.
Yeah, I'm trying to enjoy this. But it was more. I was just so nervous.
Yeah.
And the first laugh, I went, oh, thank God. Like, quietly to myself.
There's nothing more tense. And I've written a comedy film before as well. And just like the screenings and stuff, you're like, if nobody laughs, what happens if nobody laughs? Oh, fuck. But that first laugh, you can finally...
You can breathe. What is so... I think, we go to... We're in the film industry. We've got a lot of friends in the film industry. You go to screenings of friends' films. Internally, you go... It was all right.
Yeah.
And then you go up to them and you go, oh, it was great.
I loved it. That was so good.
And it's not that you're lying. And I've come up with a method of I always look for one positive that I can really talk about and really talk about passionately. What positive did I like about a project? Most of the time, the people who you see the screenings of, they're good films.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get the most honest and instant feedback. If no one laughs,
right,
you can't go, oh, it was great. Well, why didn't you laugh then?
You sat there staring at your feet the entire... You didn't laugh once.
Yeah, you're like, well...
Well, make it funnier.
Yeah, so that was my biggest worry, but I think people enjoyed it. So
fuck yeah, I certainly did.
Thanks, man.
I think that brings us perfectly into the end of the podcast. Unless we had any other stories that we wanted to wrap up on.
I mean, I don't know. I could tell you. We could go on for another hour, but like, I think that's a natural point.
No, that's perfect because I'm going to spruik this film now for you.
Stop it.
Which you just told me it's going up on Omeletto as well.
Yeah,
which is massive.
Yeah, so like we've just premiered it on Vimeo, so you can search for that. Vimeo.com/Riley Sugars/Hatchback. It's nice and easy to find.
That'll be in the show notes as well.
Yeah, and then I believe at the time of this being released, it's going to be on Omeletto, which is a big YouTube channel which has...
A big's being played, fucking massive. Like for short films, I think it's probably the biggest YouTube channel on the internet for short films.
Yeah, I'm just stoked that they've said yes to having it. So that should be on very soon. And
yes,
I think in the later July, it's going to be on another platform too. So
awesome.
That one's called Film Shortage. It's just another kind of like big catalog of short films.
Yeah, awesome.
I look, it came to a point where so many people were asking, when am I going to see it? When am I going to see it? And I'd had the experience I've never had before where a film just kind of kept going.
Yeah.
I toured it. I'd flown. I think, in the second half of 2022, I think I'd flown to Western Australia twice, Sydney 3 times, Northern Queensland, America. And just done a lot of flying. And by the time I got back before Christmas, I was like, I'm not getting on another plane.
Yeah.
I cannot do it. Like,
how dare this film be so popular?
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, what a terrible thing to bitch about.
I know, right?
I'm such a bastard. But yeah, and then even after, I'm going back and just working, regular jobs and regular film crew
That's
jobs,
the irony,
kept
isn't
going.
it? Yeah.
People, I'm like, I'm still here, but okay, great.
Yeah.
So, it's been a great time. The film, the journey it's had has been just unbelievably awesome. Like, I'm so grateful. And it's just been such a great experience from start to finish. I mean, hopefully we can springboard it into something else, but
oh, fuck yeah.
That's the goal. But, I'm going to keep that under wraps until...
Quietly work on it.
Work away at it. And then, like as we started talking about at the start of the podcast, I've got a feature film which I've just produced. Hopefully 2024 that will come out.
Oh, nice. So not too long then.
Not too long, but that we literally just started the editing process this week.
Which is so much work.
So much work. And it's a very editing heavy film.
Yeah, right.
So
you're allowed to say the name of that?
It's called Lenore.
Lenore,
so it's a feature psychological thriller. So that'll hopefully come out mid-late 2024. And then I got a bunch of shorts which I'm also helping out on, like producing and stuff. So,
yeah, awesome. So you have got an Instagram and a YouTube and a Vimeo that people can keep up to date with
just
you?
Riley Sugars. I believe I'm the only Riley Sugars in the world.
Oh, no shit.
I used to hate having Sugars as last name at school because I got, everyone made fun of it.
Kids are brutal.
Now I work in the film industry. I love it. I have to pull out my license at least once a week.
Oh, really?
To prove that that's my name. And whenever I go to festivals, people think I have changed my name.
Really?
It's a show name. And I'm like, if I was going to change it, I'd change it to something a little bit better than that. But Riley Sugars, you search, you'll find I'm plastered all around the internet on Instagram and Vimeo and all that. So,
yeah, beautiful. It'll all be linked below in the show notes as well. So definitely follow Riley and keep an eye out for Lenore, and go and fucking watch Hatchback as well. Like, if you don't listen or if you don't watch it and you're listening to this, come and find you and bloody have a talking to you.
Stephen Curry will come and do his wet work.
But the same as every week as well. You can find the podcast on Won't Forgetting That Pod across most of the social media platforms. You can find myself, Seb Muirhead, Muirhead, across Instagram and YouTube. If you did enjoy the show as well, please do think about subscribing, rating 5 stars, write a little review as well. That sort of stuff really, really does help. But once again, thank you very much, Riley.
Thanks for having me, man.
Cheers.